So, this is a brainstorming session. And I don't know how many of you remember that the State League did a research project, I think, what, a year and a half ago?
It was completed a year ago.
Completed a year ago. And it identified some weaknesses that we have. And so the concept here today is to talk about what you think we could do to address some of these problems. And I'd kind of like to do them one at a time. So if you have your program, the questions here are identified as bullets under this category. And what I'd like you to do is, I'd like you to raise your hand, wait to be called on, say your name and most particularly what local league you're in. And that will help us. Now, I'm not going to take notes on the flip chart because I have trouble going back and forth. But we are doing a transcript, and from that, I will produce a report of this group, and I'll get it out to as many people as possible. So, is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so the first question is, public and stakeholders were not familiar with the league mission and range of activities. What do you think we should do about that?
Do it again, please.
Ally?
Find ways to reach out to new audiences.
In what ways might those be?
Social media,
Okay,
internet,
and
in-person events,
what?
in-person events.
Okay,
Local newspapers.
you were next, and then you, and then you. Go ahead.
I'm Valley Needham. I'm with Thurston County. One thing that our county has been doing is, really ensuring that we are going to other events. And not only, sometimes as a league, but sometimes as individuals as well. And this has also been really helping us, become less of a white people league. So instead of like constantly being like, will you come join us? It's us putting ourselves out and joining them at their events.
Can you give a couple of examples just so that people have an image of what you?
Carol, right here, can.
Well, we show up for Pride and we tabled there, but even we weren't accepted at the first time that we wanted to be vendors because they didn't know about us. And so some of us actually just went and volunteered and did cleanup. And the next year they actually accepted us as vendors, and now we're vending table and the second year in a row.
Interesting.
But again, when you get to know some of your community organizations, just go to a meeting, and you can be as anonymous as you want to be, but you at least start getting out there and getting to know people. I would go to a social center and there were vendors there and people there representing nonprofit organizations. I had picked up their card and then I asked them to present during our DEI and Justice Committee meeting. So those are just a couple.
Thank you.
The
You and I-
DEI committee, is that like a monthly thing y'all have?
Yeah, diversity, equity.
Okay.
So I've got two.
What local league?
Sorry, Snohomish County. I'm Cindy Goble. I'm new. The first one is a sharing tree to go off with the social media. Whoever makes our social media posts, tell all the league members who are also part of that Facebook page or Twitter to go share now. Post is up, share it to your peeps. So it goes out to everybody. And the other one is working together. So Snohomish County is going to have a table at the Washington State Fair in Monroe. We want to partner with King County, who also borders on that, together so that we have a unified table in one place where both of our people go. We'll call it midnight.
I said somebody over here was next, but okay, thank you.
Just be real. What you suggested, I'm all about that. One of the things that we did and we found very successful, because I was concerned that we were perceived as an old white ladies club that were all Democrats. We partnered with an organization called Civility First. And in fact, we helped co-sponsor one of their panels that they had. We did co-sponsor. Yes, yeah. And Civility First is chaired by the leading Republican Party member in our county. And so the whole goal is that you talk civilly about hot button topics. It was fantastic. And so that we could partner with them. It's very similar to partnering with the nonprofits to reach out and be in their space. They invited us. Now I would like to invite them to come and be part of our space too. So I think that, going to the different organizations and partnering where you can, when it's non-partisan, like the table.
Thank you. There were a bunch of other hands. You would be next and then you.
Sally Hale, Clark County League. I'm part of a group that's been working with a Washington State University Vancouver class in strategic communications. And we asked them to come up with a marketing campaign for us to reach the younger demographic.
Yeah.
And they came up with a couple of things. One of them was a superheroes theme, be a superhero, vote. And the other one was had headphones. But they really emphasized to us for two things, go where they are. Go to music concerts, where you'll see other voter, Rock the Vote usually has tables there. Go to those places, go to brew pubs, and they really emphasize social media. They said, you have to get on TikTok. But that's where they are. So we're taking all of that under advisement.
Yes.
Jean Gervais, Snohomish County. In addition, there's a couple of things. One of the things that we have done when we have, tabling events is that I, worked with and included, the local DEI commissions. Because what is more inclusive, what is more equitable than voting? So they come with us to tabling events, in particular, the big one that we plan now every year for National Voter Registration Day with Goodwill and Common Power. And there's going to be a pop-up on that, not to do shameless advertising or anything like that. The other thing is, the rest of this phrase is that they're not familiar with the league mission and range of activities. So we all have committees on various topics, things like that. So involve your league with whatever the topic of the subject matter of your committees in community events that focus on that same subject matter. And one other thing that I learned, this was a couple years ago. I was talking to a friend of mine who was on the Linwood DEI Commission. She had no idea that the League of Women Voters nationally files hundreds of lawsuits every year against voter suppression. Had no idea of our litigation, our legal activity that we do. And that's really, really important in this atmosphere to emphasize.
And how do we get that word out? Ideas?
Go to all these events.
Yes.
I have put forward the idea that literally the league should be using advertising campaigns. I mean, just about the league. There's no reason that we shouldn't be putting money into advertising, whether it's on bus wraparounds, whatever it is. I posited a couple of years ago, an idea towards voting should be a year-round campaign because it happens in, city elections, all this kind of stuff. So the idea of voting, I think primarily in the country's mind is around national elections, not around every kind of election that really matters to, locals. So anyway, I throw that out there because I explored some ideas. They were all expensive, so I put that out there. But what you look at is where you want to target that money, how you want to target it, and when you're going to spread it out, and when you're going to hit that campaign, and how many places you're going to do it at the same time, where you start driving that message. So I put that out there.
Thank you. Thank
What's
you.
your name and league, please?
Karen, you'll be next and
What's your
then
name and
Rosalind.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jane the Malvey, LaFleur, in the Snohomish County League.
Thank you. I appreciate you asking me about it. Okay, Karen and then Rosalind.
I'm Karen Crowley with the Snohomish County League again. We have 10 people here.
Okay,
I have two things to add. First is that, we actually put money in our budget, not a big amount of money, but we put money in our budget to actually be a supporter or sponsor of local events. Not big, $250 that allowed us to sponsor. We did 4 events over the course of the year, different kinds of events out in the community. And that matters because then you begin to be seen as someone who is supportive of other work. And so it doesn't take a lot of money to do that, but if you have a budget, I think that's really helpful. The other thing I would say is that we have a wide range of issues and positions. So really piggybacking on what Jean said, we should be in coalition with other organizations who are doing the work that we are doing. In Snohomish County, there's a Climate Action Alliance group. We are a member of that alliance, and we put it on our website, and we share their information with us. So we should be taking our issues and seeing who is in alliance with us on our issues, and we should be partnering with them, and we should be saying that and getting our word out. And in that regard, you begin to say, oh my goodness, this is a climate action piece, and here's the League of Women Voters. Well, isn't that it? It begins to let people know the range of issues that we're involved in.
so one more, and then I want to move on to the next question. And 2 more, and we'll move on to the next question.
I'm Rosalind Duffy from Seattle, King County. How many in this room ever do the New York Times news quiz or similar weekly news quiz?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm addicted. I have. I think the league, to answer Jean's question, I think we should have a weekly or monthly or bi-weekly quiz with 5 questions. It could be things, you know, which state just won a case that the league was supporting, what happened on a state level, what happened on a local level, that we'd have a mix of questions, not many, but I'll tell you, we'd read that goddamn quiz. Because there, you know, there's so many of them and they're too long and we'll get to them later. But if there was a, you know, 5 or 10 question quiz every week, I'd do it and I'd learn what all we're doing. And then we could forward that to our friends. Look what we're doing this week. Isn't this cool? Anyway, that's my.
Okay, one more, Kyoko.
County and Toyoko Tsukuda, and this one also goes with Angela and Jefferson County. We started essay contest for all the high school students in Jefferson County. And because we should start from younger. So first year we had 8, but we contacted teacher and please encourage them to write and poet. And then this year, Angela tells you the story.
Yeah, so this year, we had 60 students from 2 different high schools and a couple homeschool students. So we only have 3 high schools in our whole county, just to put this into context. So we at least got entrance from 2 of the high schools and some homeschool students. And it's talking about specific issues related to voting, specific issues related to their concerns and what we care about. I actually used the results from the first one to write, hey, here's some of the scary things high school students think right now about public institutions, because we got a lot of really insightful answers reading, because the first question I can't. Oh, yeah, the first.
So we're running short on time.
Yeah. So the first one was what would be the community without any local news? That was the first one.
Yeah, the first one was about local news, and the students talked about how they can't trust anything they hear from any institution because we're all corrupt.
Yeah, they know already. We don't have to worry about it.
Okay, so this is all being recorded. We're gonna get it back out to you, but we need to move on. So the next one is some conservatives, probably most, perceive the league as highly partisan. How can we fix that? What can we do at the local league level, Toyoko?
Try to refrain from using word like things that trigger them. Democracy is now, they think it's the democratic word. So every time we use defend democracy without giving you something else, they will consider we are democratic party.
So how many of you have at the banner of your local league newsletter or your local league stationery, protect democracy, empower voters? I mean, how do we deal with that? How do we deal with that? Teresa?
I think that just because somebody wants to take word and have it mean something different, I get what you're saying, giving them something else as well.
But democracy is a very vague word. And how are you going to define a democracy?
I got
Because
it.
what we have is not a really democratic country. It's a representative democracy. So that's kind of confusing to give that kind of term than saying participation, encourage participation. That's the word we have to use.
So Jean was next and then Nick.
Well, she kind of said it, you know, constitutionally, if you look, you know, at that, we are a democratic republic.
Yeah.
We have enumerated powers throughout the first 5 articles of the Constitution that clearly spell out that we are a republic, but our leaders are democratically elected, one person, one vote.
So if our national, state, and local missions are to protect democracy and empower voters, how do we address this? Yes, Ally?
It's pretty important that anytime you are
I'm
representing,
sorry.
anytime you're representing the league as a league member anywhere, and you mention that we defend democracy, it's important to mention to them that that doesn't mean that we're asking you or instructing you to vote a certain way. It's defend democracy now so that you have the right to vote for whoever you want. Like, we need to make sure that we are telling people that we do not support political parties or candidates. And it's, I just said that in 10 seconds, so that's a pretty easy thing to throw in there. So I think it's just very important that if you do choose to use language that can be misconstrued, you cap it with, we do not support candidates, we support the right to vote for all.
Thank you. Lynn?
Well, early on in the league, we came together because neither party was really taking care of the interests of women. And we came together for the common good to take care of the interests of women. And that is really what we are still doing. And so anything that it's not that we are partisan to we're nonpartisan to make the better choice. And we stand for the best choice together in consensus. Otherwise, like any one of us can be any party.
But we know that.
Part of the question, wait, stop, one at a time. And how, I think my question to follow up on that, but others can go first, is how do we get that message across?
Well, I've been
Okay.
thinking like even advertising these kinds of things in papers that are other people's papers that are politically adjoined with us. Like putting an ad that says this so that they can see, and like join the League of Voters, because we do this, we do this.
Okay, thank you. So you were next and then you.
I'm from
Locally.
Spokane.
What local league are you from?
I don't think that I have a good answer, except it's, everything now has been made to be a partisan issue. The weather is an issue. It's virtually impossible to take a position and not be, and that position not being perceived as partisan. But we do read, certainly we read our things, you know, every time we do a League of Women Voters thing, the first thing we say is, the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. We do not support a candidate. We do not endorse candidates. But I think the second thing, I mean, it comes back a little to the range of activities, but I think even though I think in our community, people know that most of our members are clearly Democrats, when we do league events, we're very careful about that. And at the voter forum, I think people do not perceive that we are fair at voter forums, that we let everybody have their voice, we inform the rules the same, so it's just sort of demonstrating. So there's a level of trust there, even though they're kind of
And then the other thing that we do now is our observer corps notes, which we do specifically to be published in the local news. And, you know, they're done in such a way that it's very clear we're only saying what's going on. We're not taking a position on anything. We're just saying, this is what was said, this is what was done, this is what happened. And I think this has also helped people say, well, you know, maybe, you know, they're in their hearts, they're partisan, but what the league, the official league things do not show anything that seems.
And what is your local league?
San Juan.
Oh, okay, thank you. I think you and it.
Jen Lindbergh with Snohomish County. I think we just stay the course, like we can't change people's mind other than continue to show up in the way we do as nonpartisan. So one example we have is that we have a strong partnership with our auditor's office, which is clearly nonpartisan, and they've actually gone so far as to include our candidate forums on their website and in the voters pamphlet. And so to me, that shows that we are nonpartisan if we are endorsed and work with the auditor's office directly. So if we can continue to put those things out there, I think it just, you know, misinformation, disinformation, right? You don't repeat the negative, you just say the right thing, you say the positive thing. And so if we just keep doing it, I think that's the best.
Angela, you'll be next, but I had somebody over here first.
I just wanted to comment on the San Juan Observer Corps. Great idea, especially in this state where we're losing so many local newspapers. If there's just a recording of what happened, that's the first step to be perceived correctly as nonpartisan.
So Angela, Rosalind, and then Karen.
One of the things, so in Jefferson, we have literally a line, Angela Greco, Jefferson County, there's literally a line where the majority Republican votes start in our county, and I suspect some other counties have similar places. We show up at their fair, to table. And we had a couple great, discussions with our folks who were tabling, and they said, well, the League of Women Voters is just a bunch of Democrats, you're partisan. And Gwen, our member who was tabling, said, give me one example of something we've done in the last 4 years that's partisan. And he said, well, I don't know. She said, here's where our forums are on Zoom. Here's where this, please go take a look and come back and tell me one thing we've done that's been partisan. I want to hear your thoughts.
Thank you.
And
Rosalind?
yeah.
Similar, the best answer I heard was, you know, the league has positions. We have a position, we support clean water. And if one party is supporting clean water and doing something to promote it, great. If it switches and the other party does it, great. But the league is still right here. We support clean water. And it's not about we're aligning with one party or another. And someone else said everything's become political. Well, you know, that's the external problem, but that doesn't make us partisan.
And so the question is really, how do we get that word out in the public? So Karen is
Well,
next.
I want to second what Angela said, because the first thing you have to do is begin talking to them.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, so we have an opportunity, here's another suggestion. For our candidate forums, as we developed our issues that we want to ask, we had a broad outreach, and we sat down and had conversations with folks, with Republicans, saying, what issues do you care about? What issues matter to you? Because we want to make sure that we're framing questions that actually get to your concerns. So I just want to encourage us to think about ways to interact with each other rather than using our language to say, well, don't you understand? No, they don't understand. If we're not talking with each other, that's going to continue to be the truth. So we need to be at the table having conversations, find ways to do that and to really listen and talk.
Thank you. Any other comments before we move on? Yes.
Well, I'd
Locally,
like to echo Tracy Riley Kelly, Park County. We don't say that because we have a democratic republic, that Republicans should not use the term republic, right? So I think that this sort of concept goes both ways, and I'm very comfortable with democracy. And then the other thing is if people perceive us to not be conservative, well, that would be accurate, right? Because there are a number of positions that we hold that are not currently conservative. And I would say that our position about choice would be one example. So to a certain extent, we don't have to, is what I would like to submit, is we don't have to become conservative on positions that we are not conservative on.
I'd like to correct you, it's not on choice, it's the right to privacy, which the last Supreme Court wiped out. So
Okay,
we
thank
are
you.
there.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay, one more, Ally, and then we'll go to the next question.
Just wanted to clarify too, that it's important as the education, civics education group, that we emphasize the difference between political parties, Republican and Democrat, and the spectrum of beliefs of liberal, progressive, and conservative. There's nothing wrong with being progressive or conservative. That's not partisan. We can be progressive and be nonpartisan, and that's totally fine.
Yep.
It's not a problem of coming off conservative or liberal or progressive, whatever. It's a problem of supporting Republicans or supporting Democrats, and we do not do it.
Another
Okay.
part is being civil in the conversation.
Yeah.
Always.
Sure. Okay, so this is, the next one has to do with stuff we heard earlier today. Younger voters, tribes, communities of color, and underserved communities do not perceive the league as an organization they would be comfortable in joining. How can we address that? Kelly?
So I'm one of the younger members of the league, and, my first election I was eligible to vote in was 2016. So for those of you who are older, put yourselves in the shoes of your first presidential election is 2016. And like, so many of us do not remember, or we're not old enough to realize, like, we kind of know that politics wasn't always this way, right?
Right.
But like, we don't have real world experience, and so I get a little bit, and there's another part to it too, is that our economic situation is very difficult in general. And so I get a little bit frustrated when people say, well, why don't young people vote? And I'm like, well, we're too busy trying to figure out where we're gonna eat next, or how we're gonna eat next. We're too busy figuring out how we're gonna put gas in our car. Like, when it comes to voting, it is not a priority for us simply because it can't be. We do not have the emotional energy in general to, and I think, I don't want to speak for people of color, but considering that their economic conditions are often much worse than white people, they probably also don't have the emotional energy to think about voting.
So Valerie, what's your suggestion about how we deal with that?
So it's really hard, and I'm not even. I think that part of it is someone said, go where they are. And I think that's a great idea. Like, go to the group hugs and, you know, go find them so that they don't have to find us. I think that's a really good idea. I also think, like, taking advantage of those of us who may have colleges in our districts, taking advantage of those colleges and getting in contact with the faculty at those colleges and say, what can we do to help register your students to vote?
Thank you. Jean?
I have a general question to the league.
What league?
Oh, I'm in Snohomish County, Snohomish County. I have a general question about the league and its position. I'm wondering, is there anything wrong with us advising people if we can't naturally draw, this is gonna sound like blasphemy, if we can't naturally draw young people and more young people, people of color, what's wrong with advising people to look into Rock the Vote or some of these youth-oriented voting programs? In Seattle, you know, we have Common Tower, once again, our partner, but still, they are based. They kind of grew out of UW, and they do leadership development for young people to turn them into community activists, to teach them civic engagement. What's wrong with us doing that? We can't naturally attract those people.
Ally was be next and then you.
I think the problem is that, in my experience, the local leagues don't care to invite us.
Oh, that's not true.
Okay, she's speaking, we don't know.
Okay. Hold on, you're next.
Okay, I'm Karen Rice from Mason County, and Eileen Preferment, and I have gone to civic classes in high schools and junior highs. How many other leagues do that?
We did.
So I have to say, and I'm new again, but I was really impressed at the youth's energy, at the civics teachers, at the engagement of the students, and how many students looked me in the eye when I passed out the trifolders. They represent you. And we went into the classroom. So we are going to where they are. And these are kids from all different backgrounds, but they're all in civics class. And Amy knows more about it.
Yes, and I'm from Mason also. At our last meeting, we had 5 high schoolers come to our meeting. Well, because we are friends, Eileen is friends with the teacher, with the civics teacher. And this is the second time she has brought her class to our meeting, which starts at 12 o'clock. So it's a lunch hour and they come to our, they're just across the street where we hold our meeting. Yeah.
I'm bouncing around here. I'm gonna go over here next and then over you.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I missed you.
So I have an 18 and a 20, Cindy, Snohomish County again. I have an 18 and a 20-year-old, and when I asked them to join the league, they were too busy in college, all of this. However, my kid today asked if they could paint our white dog and put him through Pride in Monroe for fun, and I was like, I just thought of it. Yeah, join the league and wear a shirt. Absolutely, you can paint the dog and go to Pride. Join the league, wear a shirt. We need to be creative in the opportunities that the younger kids have. Where are they going? What are they doing for fun? And how can we support that as a league? Maybe they can't hit meetings. Maybe they can't go to everything, but they might have one passion that they're involved in that they want to support. And whether that's a parade or an event, that one thing is still just as important as 12 months.
Thank you. You're next and then back in the back of the room.
Let's tell them again about what Cindy's saying. I think the challenge that I see for us, that I'm one of the younger members in our league, is that, and I'm over 50, by the way. We don't have opportunities for them to do once they get there. And so I think we need to develop opportunities that are specific to younger people that they want to do. They do not join to go to a committee meeting. They do not join to make a brochure, right? So I think that as a younger person coming in, and if you're not the type of person like you two down there who are like, I'm here, I'm doing it, this is what I'm doing. If you're more of a reserve, like show me what to do, then we need to have things that are like, here's 5 things you can do when you join our league. And one of them is go to a parade. One of them is this, like something simple that's not like, well, we're gonna get hooked up with a committee and come to our meeting at 12 o'clock and sit on Zoom. Like, no one wants to do a bylaw meeting. So like, what are we doing that?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go to the back of the room because I missed her earlier and Teresa hasn't had a chance yet, and then I'll come back here.
I'm Angela Napoleon, Library, Skagit County. We have sponsored the local high school, Mount Vernon High School, debate. We have sponsored their debate for the at home for the past 2 years. So it's a way of getting our name out there and supporting and youth activity. So that's a worthwhile thing to do.
Thank you. Teresa?
I'm Teresa Howard with Tacoma Peters County, and it's Ally. I just want to say, Ally, that if you did not feel invited, you were not invited. And one of the things that happens when people are trying to speak the truth about what was an obstacle for them, it's really important not to dismiss it. I may feel like I'm doing a great job of talking to all the young people I know, but if they don't feel invited, they aren't. Good for
I promised somebody else. you have not had a chance to talk yet, so let's take you.
My take on this is, I agree with everything that heard so far. Those young people that I have talked to, they would love to join the league. Can't afford to sit anytime.
Yeah.
But you know, we're
Because they're a student, right?
Yeah. People just can't help young people and or anybody.
So the student rate is going away, by the way, you all know, right? It is going away at the national level.
Yeah,
as soon as the new-
Okay, let's wait, one at a time, please, okay.
I just wanted to respond that we do have scholarships
Yeah.
for students.
Yeah.
So even though the student rate is going away, you can still sponsor.
Lynn, and then we're gonna move to the next topic.
I just went last week to the superintendent, in Spokane Superintendent Forum. And I want to tell you that this is the way we engage students, to get the students in there to talk to the superintendent. And I think this is even forums. We had one years ago up in Newport, and the students they filmed it, they asked the questions, and we had the league and the newspaper involved. And if we can get that, that's social capital. We put it all together and it works the community. And if we can all do that, that'll work. This thing where we just do it ourselves keeps it inside the.
So the last one on this list, and this is not the entire list of issues, one of the ones we're gonna be dealing with is tomorrow about nonpartisanship. But libraries and educators do not perceive the league as effective. How can we fix that? Kelly?
So this last year, Valley from Thursday, not to be confused with Ally, it's Ally and Valley over here. Last year, our library actually reached out to us and asked to co-host our, school board forum. So, if your library, didn't reach out to you like ours did, reach out to your library and see if it's possible for you to film the school board, whatever your school board is. Because that's something, or it doesn't have to be school board, but that's something that's in their wheelhouse. Ask them to collaborate in some way on your candidate forums.
Yep, that's right.
Angela, and then, I don't know your name, I'm sorry, you've been next.
So Angela Gurka from Jefferson. One of the things we do with our library is the little bookmark, the Be a Voter Services bookmarks. We print them, we cut them, we get them to the library, specifically the bookmobile that goes out to the rural areas to be inserted in all the books. Going out particularly, it's available in the bookmobile. And if they put them in the books that people reserve to be brought out there, but it just gets our face, it gets our name out there and it gets us out in like rural folks like, oh, that's right, they're here because it's just the bookmark in their book.
So does anybody have any idea why libraries and educators do not perceive the league as effective? And I missed you, and then we'll go to the back and then Teresa.
From Whidbey Island, that's not true in our county. They co-sponsor our forums with us. They print the posters and distribute them. They also are always crying for our tries. You know, if they run low, they ask us to bring more. So I don't think they perceive us as not being effective.
But the thing about, Island County, it's predominantly white, doesn't it?
It's predominantly, in the north part of the island, it's very diverse because there's so many enlisted Navy, enlisted Navy, who usually who don't go to college. So we have large diversity in the northern part.
Okay, in the back?
This was before, but we work with the libraries. They each have a copy. All of our libraries in Spokane County have a copy of the state you're in, Washington, book, elementary. We make sure the schools know that it's there. And we also make sure every library, city and county has a tribe.
Thank you. I think you're next and then Karen.
I kind of just have a rhetorical question, but what is it that means that we're effective? I mean, do we even know ourselves what our goals are? Like we say, we're doing these things with students, we're doing these things with, these underserved populations, but what
what are our numbers? What are our measurements? What are we setting out that our goals are? Because if our goal is to just have people know our name, that might be a goal. Is our goal to actually move the needle on voting? Like, what are we, like, we don't have any numbers. If we were business, we would want to know, what are our metrics? What is our goal? So I think if we define those in our, as we're doing our annual meetings and things like that, it would help us know, do they know we're effective? We don't even know if we're.
Well, we don't know what they meant by this either.
Exactly.
Karen?
Oh, I was Karen from Summer County. I was actually just gonna ask, I heard a number of leagues say that we do have great partnerships and we are aligned with our libraries. So I would question, in fact, I would just question this data and wonder which library said that, and I'd like to know. That's what
Jean, do you wanna talk about
One
that?
of the problems that we found looking back at the data is, when you think about the number of leagues in the state and the number of counties, about 50% of counties in the state have no league.
Yeah, that's right.
And I have a question in the WSU asking if they can look at data that they wanted the library to find it, the ones who knew about it, can't leave. The ones that didn't know about it, we just don't. And so the question back to them was, other people responded because they're very keen on privacy, who responded. Question was, what percentage of people that said they had a problem were in counties?
And what was the question specifically? Because
I don't remember exactly what.
I mean, the way it says that they don't think we're effective, but what, effective at what?
Yeah.
We're trying to, what do they?
But the main thing was, you know about the league, and if you work with the league, there was a series of questions behind it. Have you worked with the league? Do you know what the league does? And, you know, a lot of them said, well, the league has events here. That was that being cooperative, but it's not really effective. They know of the league. So there were a series of questions that belonged under the league.
In the back?
To address that a little bit, Spokane area, because we're not Spokane County area. We kind of struggle with that because we're the only league, Canada, west of Idaho, north of Pullman, and east of Ellensburg. That's a big area. And we struggle with how do we serve it? Do we stick to the county? Do we try to reach out? Because it's a void, and it shouldn't be. There's a lot of people there that should have access to league material. We don't know how to do that.
Yes.
One of the things that I proposed, again, Nisha Foster from the League of San Juans, that we talked about, project that I came up with and was gonna do and didn't get very far with, because I live in San Juan now, but I went to high school in Okanagan County, which does not have a League of Women Voters. And we, you know, in San Juan County, which is small and only has a few schools, we put the state you're in all the libraries and all the high school and elementary school libraries. But I was like, in Okanagan, you know, there's no league there to be getting these into the schools, but I know people there. And I was like, maybe our league could partner somehow. And maybe I could get people there to be a committee to get the league books into the schools of Okanagan County. And I thought maybe if that worked, it could be a pilot for leagues to partner with counties without a league, just on the civics education text.
Thank you. Kelly?
To piggyback off of that, we are technically the League of Pullman, but we are actually the League of Whitman County. So we are called Pullman, but we accept all Whitman County residents. So we have recently been kind of trying to reach out to those rural areas, Rosalia, Colfax, Holden. And we did it through the libraries. Their libraries helped us out. So we got our textbooks in and we took them to the Whitman County Library. And the Whitman County Library said, we're gonna take these to all of these rural libraries. If you guys are okay with that. And we said, yes, please. Like, so that's kind of a good way to bridge two of these questions is get in with your library and say, do you have any connections to a rural bookmobile or library that can use us? Like, let's help them out. That's
Teresa.
I love all of this. I just want to say that I almost thought about not coming to this because of the way these statements are written. They are absolute. Could read this as 100% of libraries and educators think that we're ineffective. It feels like starting from zero and saying how to get from 0 to even 20%. So if people are going to present research, it should be, if it's qualitative, say it. If it's quantitative, give us some percentages. Don't just say nobody loves us.
That might be my fault. So I'll take that one. And good point. Thank you. So we have about 2 more minutes. So Angela's going next. Anything else you want to offer? Wide open, Angela.
Okay, I just want to say, Paul, sort of, tagging on to what Ally had said, because, with the 24th legislative district, it encompasses Jefferson County, Clallam County, and part of Grace Harbor County. Grace Harbor County doesn't have a lead. And so what I found 2 years ago doing the publicity for our forum for the legislative district is I actually reached out to the Elks Club and all the civic organizations and said, because we take questions from the community, and just sort of putting our name out there and saying, hi, we're here, we exist, and we do this candidate forum. And we actually got questions submitted from people in Grace Harbor County. This goes to, we send our, hey, we're taking questions, press release and social media square to everybody we can track down an email address for. And I literally mean everybody. And just putting that out there, like, hey, we're here. And my hope is that someday somebody from Grace Harbor will say, hey, can I help? Hey, can we pile on? And maybe I need to, hearing this, put something in the press release that goes there saying, any folks in Grace Harbor wanting to participate in the forum and help out and help this, please contact us. Because we really need to, we do have a lot of areas that aren't served by a league, and doing what we can to say, hey, we're here and we're doing these forums for the purpose of voter education so that we all can make informed decisions about who represents us.
Any other comments for the benefit? Lynn?
Years ago, I was floored in Spokane when I found out that our tri is a partnership with Avista, which is our power company in the city of Spokane. And they continue to print it, even though it's been sold to a Canadian company. And we put it in all the libraries and we distribute it as far as we can. And they are a partner. And that's really another thing in your community, is ask partnerships where you think that they would be interested in doing that for their benefit. You're partnering with us. Thank you.
You have to add that they get a legal and financial benefit.
They do. The person in the back hasn't spoken yet, and then Carol, and then I'm going to say thank you to all of you. Go ahead.
I'm JP, I'm from Clallam County, and I think we're all missing a huge opportunity in this country right now. Get out the vote.
Yeah.
It's in our name, and I'm almost at the point of saying, forget all the committees, let's just get out the vote and get our primary purpose in life. Take the chance of winning public, but we've got to get out the vote, and we just, I know all the other stuff is important. I know that right now, because of the diversity and the you know what I'm saying? Divided, then we need to promote freedom of choice. We need to promote freedom. We need to promote voting.
Yeah. Thank you. Carol, it's last.
Quickly, the idea of reaching out to counties that don't have leads. So our county is showing up for Lewis County's Juneteenth event, and we're tabling there. So if you look at your local rural areas and what are celebrations, if they don't have a lead, find out if they want to have you table. And then the second is find out what people are needing. And I'm thinking of the unfunded mandate of now civics education. And so really looking at how can we serve.
You know, you people are not listening. Would you please not talk while somebody else is talking? Go ahead.
So really kind of showing up and being a service to an unserved area. And so with school districts really under the gun right now in terms of their funding is just reaching out and saying, this is something that, but it means you have to be ready to show up with volunteers who can do civics education.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you for this. The notes will come out in an article in the so you will all get it, and so will everybody else. Thank you for all your ideas. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was great.